So we'll start with a Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham Dhammam Sangham Namasami. So today we're going to continue exploring the five spiritual faculties, or the five controlling faculties. And this is really worthy of really deep study and also application, if we can understand what the Buddha is pointing to in these suttas. And then there's various translations that we've been pondering. If we can, I usually do a comparative of the translations because I'm not a translator myself, and I'm depending a lot on the translators. There is a beautiful work by Bhante Sujato where he has the Pali and the English side by side, and then you can click on Pali terms. So I usually start with using the Sutta Central, and that way we can look at the Pali. And sometimes it's good to have actually, it is very good to have some vocabulary, Pali vocabulary, because there's one English word does not really do justice often to what the Buddha is trying to say to us when he's using these terms. So this one, it's Āpana is the name of the sutta.
I'm gonna just do some muting so that we.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. There.
All right. Thanks. So Āpana, and this is a conversation between the Venerable Sāriputta and the Buddha. Now, this is the next one. I have two suttas lined up. So this one is the Buddha's instructions. But this is talking about how one spiritual faculty leads to the other. And but they're somewhat sequential, but they're also developing simultaneously, and they also balance each other out. But this particular sutta shows it in a sequence, and it might be helpful to see it that way. But there's other discussions how the faculties balance one another. If one is overly strong, then it may throw everything else out of, or the mind out of balance. If we're too energetic and pressing too hard, we might miss the mark because we're just too tense and anxious and just not being able to focus. And then so we have samadhi or samatha to balance that out. We need to calm the mind. So this is this balancing between faith and wisdom, energy and samadhi, and then mindfulness overlooks all of it. So this is from the commentaries, but there's also a sutta that talks about this. But we're not talking about that sutta today. So I'm going to go to the sutta. I'm going to share the first one. And then if we have time, we can go more into the second one. I have also a document to share. So here's the sutta. can get this. And these, there they go. So here's the sutta. Sutta in the it's a Samyutta Nikaya. So Bhante Sujato translates the connected discourses as how Bhante Bodhi translates it. So some people are more familiar with that, but Bhante Sujato says linked discourses. I can't remember what Ajahn Nisro says. But if you want to generally look it up, it's SN 4850, and this is at Āpana. So I'll just start reading it. Oh, I'm going to get the Pali here. There. So, and this is Aya Sivijana, and I'm Aya.
Aya Suvijana.
I'm Aya Sivijana, and this is
Aya
Nyatika. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, the sense of self is starting to get blurred. Okay. At one time, I was staying in the land of. At one time, the Buddha was staying at the land of the Angas, near the Angan town called Āpana. Then the Buddha said to Venerable Sāriputta, this is the one with Sāriputta. Sāriputta, would a noble disciple who is sure and devoted to the realized one have any doubt or uncertainty about the realized one's instructions? So this is a Arya Sawako. So what that is indicating to me is that this person has already entered the stream. So people start working with the spiritual faculties in order to, they develop the mind, and it's really directing towards liberation and final knowledge. So the stronger these faculties are, the more ability we have for attainment. And then once someone has entered the stream, they're still developing them. So he's talking about a noble disciple. So a noble disciple, sir, a noble disciple who is sure and devoted to the realized one would have no doubt or uncertainty about the realized one or his instructions. So this is the Dhamma, Buddha and the Dhamma. And the quality of a Sotapanna is unshakable faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. These are qualities that they possess. So this is interesting that the Buddha is kind of questioning Sāriputta, just testing his knowledge, but also because Sāriputta is known for wisdom. His wisdom, he's was the foremost in wisdom. How is Sāriputta going to explain this? How, like what is the way that he's going to interpret it? And it's often different than the standard way that it's taught, which is beautiful. It's helpful. So now Sāriputta continues, sir, a noble disciple who is sure and devoted to the realized one would have no doubt or uncertainty about the realized one's instruction. You can expect a faithful, noble disciple will live with energy roused up for giving up unskillful qualities and embracing skillful qualities that are strong, staunchy, vigorous. They are strong, staunchy, vigorous, not slacking off when it comes to developing skillful qualities. So this is a virya. So the first one was sada. The first faculty is sada. And that's the not having any doubt or uncertainty about the Dhamma, about the teaching.
And not having doubt because of their understanding and realization. It's not a blind kind of faith.
So that's the wisdom faculty.
Mhm.
So the wisdom, you're talking about the wisdom faculty balancing the sada or bringing,
Yeah,
helping the sada arise.
yeah. Well, and that the quality of the sada is a complete knowing trust. It's not a it's when you have a teacher that you continue to be open to their teaching being wrong, but you've never encountered anything that's wrong. That when you practice with it, it's really lands as true. The conviction is steady and solid. So yeah, it's balanced with the wisdom. But it's I have a difficulty with that first the sentence, where he's coming in and he's saying, well, if somebody's sure and devoted to the realization, to the realized one, would they not have any doubts? And you see some gurus out in the world who are like, you should have no doubt in me. And the Buddha is not saying that. It's out of their own practice.
Well, it's applying the teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and then through their direct experience. And so it's a direct knowing.
Direct knowing. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to. So you can expect. So this also, the second one is virya. The first one's sada. So virya is described here as one living with their energy roused up for giving up unskillful qualities, embracing skillful qualities. So this is our ongoing work. This is the description of the virya. So, and they're strong, staunchy, vigorous, not slacking off when it comes to developing skillful qualities. So it does mean we need to put some effort into it. And I think what it is Ajahn Thanissaro says virya is persistence.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just are constantly aware of what's arising in our minds, is this, and then when we see unwholesome or unskillful qualities of mind arising, we go, oh, I really need to somehow work on abandoning this, or, like putting it down right away is, like a hot coals or something. You don't want to hang on to it because you can see the harm that unskillful qualities are to us. And also, it sounds very macho here, not slacking off when it comes to developing skillful qualities. So yeah, so it's a persistent effort that we put into developing the wholesome and abandoning the unwholesome. And then it says, for their energy is the faculty of energy. You can expect that a faithful and energetic, noble disciple will be mindful with utmost mindfulness and alertness, able to remember and recall what was said and done long ago. So this is one of the ways of explaining sati. I don't see the word sati in here, but this is the, you might look at this.
Sati here.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Thank you. Is prudent mindfulness,
I like that.
careful awareness,
Yeah, careful awareness really resonates for me.
and mindful and prudence. Um, but you're meticulous with your mindfulness, utmost mindfulness, meticulous. So you're mindful of your physical activities, which helps with the mindfulness of our mental activities and vice versa. But if I see myself, I'm just kind of going through my motions, just kind of on automatic pilot and not really paying attention to what I'm doing, and I'm lost in thoughts. This is like then the unwholesome qualities have taken over because this is distraction. This is uh, delusion. I'm not present. So bringing ourselves present to the moment. And that way, as I said before, if we are practicing mindfulness throughout the day, then we'll remember like where we place something. If we're really being mindful about it and really being intentional about it. And if we're being very attentive to what we're doing, we'll remember. And we're being really attentive to the instruction. This is the thing. Able to remember and recall what was said and done long ago. So this is practical, but also during our meditation, to remember an instruction during the meditation, like reading the suttas and really memorizing some of the teachings, or really paying attention to a teacher. You may be meditating and you're running into like a hindrance, and then you recall, oh, they said this is, when you're experiencing sloth and torpor, someone suggested to adjust the posture and sit up, and the Buddha said to open up your eyes and look around. So you're remembering the instructions that were given. There's like 7 things to do when you're feeling sleepy. So you start working with that because you really paid attention to what the instructions were. So this is how this can help us in our meditation, and it's also very practical in our daily life. So if we're unfuddled in our daily life, then we can apply ourselves well to the inner work as well. Do you have anything more to say
About the mindfulness?
Yeah.
You use the word meticulous, and I find that really helpful. Like the detailed, I had one teacher would say, walking down the path, you're walking down the path. Okay, now you got that. Walking down the path and you're about to step on, do you know the transition? And is there a transition in the so the meticulous, detailed nature of it, but it's still this careful, it's full of care, it's not tight. When all of the faculties are balanced, the mindfulness has an ease to it, and it's just the arising of the memory to know what to apply, and then the acting of it, and then knowing the details. It's meticulous, but for me, that's a joyful word. So you have to look at how you pick it up.
Right, yeah. The care, yeah, very taking the really care and attentiveness, and yeah,
Attentive.
very attentive, yeah, but yeah, use the right way. Meticulous is good.
Right. Let's
Yeah,
reclaim that word.
yeah, reclaim it. It doesn't have to mean kind of
Picky and delicately, yes,
okay.
uptight. No, open.
So this is a description of the faculty of mindfulness, and the 4 foundations of mindfulness is another way that the faculty of mindfulness is described. But in this case, he's using it as remembering, having so if you're energetic and you've been abandoning the unwholesome and developing the wholesome, you have utmost mindfulness and alertness. and able to remember and recall what was said long and done. Oh, this little thing. Recall what was said and done long ago. So that's their faculty of mindfulness. And then you can expect a faithful, energetic, and mindful disciple will, relying on letting go, gain immersion, gain unification of mind. So this is Bhante Sujato likes immersion for samadhi. The old-fashioned word concentration, some people really don't like. Here's samadhi. But this is beautiful here. Perfect peace of mind, stability of mind, stillness. This is what Ajahn Brahm likes, stillness, mental composure, stability. So there's these qualities of samadhi. And even if we haven't entered the jhanas or mastered the jhanas, which is sama samadhi, if we're working towards this peaceful, stable, still, and composed mind, the more that we can develop that, the more, we're developing this faculty. So don't despair if you haven't entered the jhanas. This is a real attainment that it takes this effort. Then the other faculties, other three previous faculties are in support.
And his translation, you can expect, is when you develop enough confidence, the persistence, the energy, and the mindfulness, samadhi will happen. So many people come and say, I can't meditate, meaning I can't get into samadhi. And the great teachers go back and examine their mindfulness, examine their sila, but here we're already assuming that. Examine the faculties that lead to samadhi. So you don't do samadhi by going directly into samadhi. You have the supporting faculties that samadhi is expected to arise.
And this is why people often don't like the translation concentration,
Right.
because it sounds like you go to your seat and I'm just going to concentrate. And so then that's putting the wrong kind of effort.
Yeah.
The effort they're talking about is really you observe what's arising in the mind, and you cultivate what's wholesome and you abandon what's unwholesome. And then the mind will start naturally settling. But you may have a object of meditation you're working with, but that mind will gently head in that direction if you're gentle with the mind, if you're not trying to force it onto your object of meditation. So then we have that peaceful, stable, still mind that's composed and gone to unification. This is the mind here. Mind, heart, gone to unification. A ka is one and gatang is a going towards. So, but unification and oneness of mind sometimes is translated as one pointedness. And that's another thing where it's not like there's just like it's narrowing down and becoming really tight and controlled, but the mind is unified. It's like all the energy is going is in unification, and the awareness is unified. it's not getting smaller and tighter. It's more expansive,
Mhm.
but it's unified.
It's toward one purpose is one way I like to think
Okay,
of it.
that's a good way of saying
Because
it.
that doesn't give a narrowing, it's toward one purpose, but like a pilot, they need to have the full view, but it's toward one purpose, the safety and direction of the aircraft. You wouldn't want your pilot to narrow in and only look at this part of the monitor. No, it's a full view, but toward one purpose. And where does it lead?
So you can expect that a faithful, energetic, mindful, noble disciple with their mind immersed in samadhi will understand this. Transmigration has no known beginning. No first point is found of sentient beings roaming and transmigrating, shrouded by ignorance and fettered by craving. But when the dark mass of ignorance fades away and ceases with nothing left over, that state is peaceful and sublime. That is the stilling of all activities, the letting go of all attachments, the ending of craving, fading away, cessation, extinguishment. This is Nibbana. So we have,
This is one of my favorite lines that appears in the suttas. Sabba sankara samato sabu patinisago tan hakayo virago nirodo nibbana.
for their noble wisdom is the faculty of wisdom. So this is when this is like the end point, really.
Yes.
This is the, when you've reached this point, this is awakening. So they have no doubt because they've seen Nibbana. And they've if the work, there's another sutta that will talk the difference, but Nibbana is translated as extinguishing by Bhante Sujato, quenching, going out. And there's a lot of to speculate what Nibbana actually is, other than that, this is what we're heading towards, and it's known as the highest bliss. So it's not like just kind of quenching, and quenching sounds extinguishing, like a fire going out.
Chisho Bhikkhu uses unbinding.
Unbinding, but there's no English word, or probably any word that can really it has to be experienced. Complete quenching, total emancipation, complete cooling. So the fires of the defilements are completely extinguished. But then there's the noble faculty of wisdom. So there's the wisdom that comes through this whole process. So when a noble disciple has tried again and again, recollected again and again, entered immersion again and again, and understood with wisdom again and again, they will be confident of this.
There we go. Yeah.
I have previously heard of these things, but now I have direct meditative experience of them, and I see them with penetrating wisdom. And here, this is, we'll get into discussion about these terms, but this is touched, having felt, touched, having touched, come into contact with, having reached, having attained, having experienced. So this is why Bhante Sujato uses the word experienced. And then there's this word kayena, which has to do with body. But the way, I think the reason why he's, and then he's using the word viharami, dwells, and that's where he's getting the meditative, you say, direct meditative experience. Because like the Brahma Viharas, I've just heard Bhante Sujato's teaching it quite a few times, so I'm understanding how he's translating it this way from teachings I've heard by him. But like the Brahma Viharas are a meditative state. They're dwelling. So I think this is why, but he uses meditative experience. It's translated differently, and there's the wisdom. So
I think the pusitva is the experience part, and the literal meaning of touch, but it's
yeah,
experience.
that's what
Yeah.
it is.
And then the vihara is the staying, dwelling, abiding.
Well, we can get to this when we see another translation of this.
Okay, good.
Okay, but now they have direct meditative experience. So then, and they see it with penetrating wisdom. So their faith is the faculty of faith based on their penetrating wisdom. So it's impossible for them to have any doubt because they know.
Right.
So then the Buddha praises Sāriputta, and then he repeats the whole thing. Sāriputta, noble disciple, who is sure and devoted to the realized one, would have no doubt or uncertainty about the realized one or his instructions. So I'm going to change. I'm going to stop the screen share so I can. So how are we going so far? I've got a, pardon me,
There's something in the chat. I don't know if it's a question or,
is there something in the chat?
yeah, and a hand raised for this part of the sutta.
Okay, see what the chat is. Okay, that's no
Okay,
problem.
yeah.
And John has
John, is your question regarding this part of this sutta? Then
Yes,
okay.
yes. Hello, Ayas.
Hello.
It's good to be here again. Sorry for my absences. Recently, I've been occupied with other things. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for the sutta study today. So yes, my question has to do with what's been covered so far. So in terms of the faculty of virya, the energy, um, I tend to think of energy as gas in the tank, having the energy to do something physically or mentally. That's my reaction to that word. So I'm trying to understand if the noble faculty of virya should be understood that way, or if that's the wrong understanding for the noble faculty.
Well, the way it's described in this sutta is talking about that where the energy is being applied specifically, and it's to the abandoning of the unwholesome or unskillful qualities. And There's also the word persistence, which is how Ajahn Thanissaro likes to translate virya. And I think that putting your effort or energy and persistence into specifically abandoning unwholesome qualities and developing wholesome qualities. So that's so how you get that energy is they're talking about the sada, the we get inspired. So there's an element of the sada. It's translated sometimes as faith, but it's not a gullible faith.
Mhm.
It's translated as confidence, but you're motivated because this seems like something really worthwhile, something that you're starting to understand, and then there's some amount of maybe excitement and enthusiasm. I think, enthusiasm that comes up, and you apply yourself. And then as we abandon unwholesome mental states, we have naturally more energy because these are draining. Anger, greed, and delusion all are draining mentally and physically. So as we abandon the unwholesome and we start developing the wholesome, then the wholesome qualities are more energetic, they're more joyful. If we're working on the Brahma Viharas, or the opposites, well, opposite of greed would be contentment and generosity. The opposite of hatred would be loving kindness, and the opposite of delusion is wisdom or knowledge. So these are more bring us energy. So as we develop, we'll naturally become more energetic because we're being the fuel. That fuel
Mhm.
is coming from the wholesome qualities, and we don't have or I don't know, I can't think of a good way that we're not pushing or putting our foot on the accelerator and brake at the same time or something like that, and wasting a lot of gas and
Yeah.
hard on our car. I don't know.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's so you're talking about the right efforts, and also the supportive factors. So if you're using the automobile, whether it's petrol or solar or whatever electric, the energy source, it's not just the fuel. It's also the proper application of the brake. Like, you don't go very far if you've got your parking brake on when you've got your gas on. You've got the right energy thing, but it's also about the supportive conditions. So there are other suttas that describe what are the supportive environment. So where you're driving that vehicle makes a difference in how well the vehicle drives. The condition of the vehicle itself, when I had an old clunker, I didn't have a lot of confidence that my car was necessarily going to get me where I wanted to go. And I had extra oil in the back because it was leaking so badly. So the container in which you are practicing can impact your energy. So it's not just a trivial, oh, it's just the fuel. It's a whole set of conditions, which is why all of these balancing factors need to come into play.
So are we ready to move on a little? I have a document here. Alexandra has a hand up. Yes, go ahead, and Alexandra.
Hello, Venerables. I did just have a question about, it seems to suggest here that the state of jhana will lead to an understanding of the infinite nature of samsara. I was just wondering, how does that happen? Will it just happen, or is there some sort of effort that needs to be put in, or? Thank you.
Yeah, so as we're they're talking about a real sequence here applying the mind in a particular way. So it's a whole package. We should be, it's assumed that we're keeping our sila well, and part of the abandoning of the unwholesome qualities is keeping our sila well. So through body, speech, and mind, we're developing wholesome qualities, and through body, speech, and mind, we're abandoning, we're not engaging in things that are harmful. And so, and then the mindfulness is a very, this power of observation that we're developing. So we're starting to observe things in accordance to reality more and more as our mindfulness is getting sharper. And so mindfulness is a factor of samadhi. It's in the jhanas. It's in the it's purified in the fourth jhana. So so our ability to see things clearly, and the obstructive quality of the hindrances and things like that are absent. So then we don't have anything that's holding us back from seeing things as it actually is. Or I don't know.
But without the other faculties, the confidence, the mindfulness, the energy, you can come out of jhana and just waste that capacity. So jhana itself is not enough of a condition. It's like you have the smooth, continuing with the automobile, you have the smooth road. It's an easy drive. But if you are, you're on and then you just you get out of jhana and you just plug because I'm going way old, your 8-track in, or your podcast, you can squander that beautiful quality that you've got from the jhanas. If you don't have the other faculties on board, wisdom won't arise. That's why you have to have it all.
Also, you're not unlikely just to stumble into jhana, or just you might get into some state that's very peaceful and beautiful and everything like that, but it may not be samadhi. You have the wisdom. You have to be also, you can have a lot of intellectual wisdom, but not having it deep enough. They're talking about direct experiencing and seeing for yourself, and seeing what it's, the experience of really letting go. It's
oh yeah.
it talked about just complete relinquishment. That's
relying on letting go.
Yeah. So that's a good question.
It's a very good question.
And it's something to be it's like there's intellectual understanding, which is good, and then there's the direct experience of it. And you can see, like, for yourself, even if I'm not putting down, but as we abandon the unwholesome qualities more and more, and as the wholesome qualities are developing more and more, we'll see a difference. We'll start to gain more understanding. So, but then there's a epiphany, I guess. It's just like the final breakthrough, and the breakthrough is for most people is in stages. So I hope that's enough for now. And then we can go to, I have a document that I put together, and we'll see. Oh, we got some time.
Yeah, we've got some time.
We can go through, we might not get to the other sutta.
That's fine. We can
see how we started here. I think I started with
you started with 50, not 53.
Okay. All right. So I have here a little review. Probably most people, but to avoid confusion, because there's different translations of the faculties. So this is Bhante Sujato's translation of the faculties, the 5 faculties: faith, energy, mindfulness, immersion, and wisdom. So this is Sadindriyam Virindriyam, Satindriyam, Samadhindriyam, and Panindriyam. So this is a compound word. So Sada, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya, when the words stand alone. And then this is Ajahn Tanisharo's translation, faculty of conviction, faculty of persistence, faculty of mindfulness, faculty of concentration. He likes that word. And discernment. So this is wisdom. And there's a certainly discerning aspect of that. And yeah, so some words work better, English words work better for, you know, if it helps to see other translations. And I think that the words are multifaceted. So especially like persistence is certainly an element of virya. So this was the second sutta I was going to look at. Do you want to go to the next sutta, or should we stay on the same? What is the consensus of? Do we go to the next one?
Hands up for next sutta, or, okay, we've got,
Okay.
okay, next sutta. Let's see how far we go.
So here I have how to recognize a trainee as a trainee. So a trainee is somebody who the Sekha is either they've entered the stream, there's Sotapanna, there's some level of awakening, so they've seen Nibbana, or they're once returner or non-returner. So it's interesting that term is used, that they're you know, before we're even a trainee. But don't lose heart. They had to become trainees somehow. So we start
Start where we are.
Start wherever we are. So in what way is a mendicant or anyone who is a trainee can understand that they are a trainee? So this is kind of checking ourselves. And it's when a mendicant who is a trainee truly understands this is suffering, this is the origin of suffering, this is the cessation of suffering, this is the practice that leads to the cessation of suffering. So these are the Four Noble Truths. And this is like, so we should at least have some understanding of these truths. We should know what this is referring to. And but also you can use this as a kind of a way of developing insight into it. It's just really contemplating this particular teaching, or sort of like a meditation. So so I think everyone knows this, but this is suffering. This is dukkha. And dukkha is the first noble truth. And just when we're feeling at a loss, so we're feeling even angry, we're feeling any kind of like really disruptive emotion or confusion or something like that, you might say to yourself, oh, this is dukkha. And the next question is,
well, dukkha is to be understood. And then
Okay.
the next one is, what is the cause?
what is the cause?
Oh, craving.
Craving. Okay. So you can start doing these kind of like when you
Am I
see
craving?
yourself unhappy,
What do I want?
what is it that I'm wanting? So this is the cause of suffering, is that we want things to be different than they are. We want to have what we don't have. We want, yeah, those two things. Not having one's wishes is dukkha. Being separated from the loved is dukkha.
Mhm.
Aging is dukkha. Sickness is dukkha. And we don't want these things. So, and then that there is cessation of dukkha. This is possible.
I use I guess we've got the phrases, this is dukkha, what do I want? And then this one is a reminder to myself, liberation is possible. Yeah.
The cessation of dukkha is possible. And then there is a practice that leads to the cessation of dukkha, and this is the Noble Eightfold Path. So this is really essential to entering the stream, is to really, we can be working with this and not just intellectually, have it memorized and know the Pali and everything like that. Experiencing the dukkha, like instead of, I think Bhante Sumedha said, welcome it.
Mhm.
Welcome dukkha. And nobody does want to welcome dukkha, but I think welcoming it would be I think recognizing it for me is like, oh, if I start saying, oh, this is dukkha.
It's about the curiosity, so there's still, like, I had very, very early in my practice, the Buddhist practice, I had a really painful retreat, body-wise. But the mindfulness was there, and it was mindful of the dukkha, but with a curiosity and curious of where was I tensing around it, and then watching its changing nature. I had such a blissful meditation. And I was understanding dukkha, sure had a pain in my back, but there was so much joy. So the exploration of dukkha doesn't have to be dukkha.
Well, but I think, yeah, to really see it and
Mhm.
understand it and where it's coming from. And then there is there's a temporary release too. So then we can have the cessation of the dukkha, that particular suffering, because we've let go. We can see how letting go is a release and the ending of a particular experience of dukkha. It's not a final release,
Mhm.
but you could, so if you see the cause, and then you're willing to let go of that clinging or grasping, and then you see how letting go is freedom.
Yeah.
And then you see how, oh, I'm no longer suffering because of that particular whatever I was wanting or not wanting. And I always remind myself, I'm a kind of a dosa or a aversive type. So I think not wanting it not to be, it's a type of wanting. I don't want that. So that want is still in there. I want it to be different. So then if I'm willing to let go, there's at least some easement or maybe actually cessation of that particular experience of dukkha at that time. So this is how we can, but then the Sekha has really deeply understood it, and they've had a glimpse of nibbana, of the cessation. So that's really deeply understanding the Four Noble Truths. And a Sekha is said to possess the Four Noble Truths. They're not going to go off the path. They're not going to abandon the Eightfold Path. They're on the path. They're well on the path. They're not going to stray off the path. So then the Sekha also understands, they understand there is no other ascetic or Brahmin elsewhere whose teaching is as true or as real, as accurate as that of the Buddha. So there's no, you don't scramble in other kind of belief systems and or doubt the Buddha maybe had it wrong here and this other guru has got it right. I like the way I'm kind of like mixing around different beliefs and systems and well, you know, like if I just do this kind of ritual or something like that or whatever is gonna enhance my practice and
But this isn't saying that you can't find the Buddha's teaching in other spiritual systems. It's just where there's a mismatch, you're going to find that what the Buddha has said is the truth. But maybe you heard it from someone else. The Buddha says, you know, the person so much as the Dhamma of that person. So this is where, you know, someone who comes to some of these truths through another belief system's practice is still in line with the Buddha Dhamma, but they need to get all the way to the Four Noble Truths, and that's what you find in the Buddha Dhamma.
thank you. Yeah.
You can probably tell by the way that I talk that I don't want people to get caught up on guru worshiping. I want come into the Dhamma, the value of this,
Mhm.
experience it.
So that's the sada there, and it's based on their experience. So their faith is unshakable once again because of the development of wisdom and able to see. Furthermore, a mendicant who is a trainee understands the 5 faculties: faith, energy, mindfulness, immersion, and wisdom. And although they don't have direct meditative experience, their destination, apex, fruit, and culmination, they do see them with penetrating wisdom. So this is the understanding. They have a certain amount, they have quite a bit of understanding, a deep understanding, penetrating understanding, but the actual experience, complete letting go that is required has not happened. So I ellipsed here. I skipped you'll have to go to Sutta Central or Access to Insight. To get the whole thing, but here it's when so the question is how does an adept know who's an adept? It's when a mendicant who is an adept understands the 5 faculties: faith, energy, mindfulness, immersion, and wisdom, and they have direct meditative experience of their destination, apex, fruit, and culmination, and they see them with penetrating wisdom. So that's the difference, that they have direct meditative experience and they see them with penetrating wisdom. And that's why a mendicant who is an adept can understand that they are an adept. But it seems like once you've there may be some confusion about whether I've entered the stream or not, or a person, I'm saying I, but whether I, as a person, any person has entered the stream or not, but once they're arhat, I would think they would have no question.
There's
at all.
definitely, I mean, the way you see people phrasing having reached arhatship, there is an absolute understanding and conviction that what has to have been done has been done.
So
Yeah.
there's no,
There's no doubt.
so the adept is an arahant,
Mhm.
not a trainee, beyond trainings.
Yeah.
This is what I have here. And this is Ajahn Thanissharo's translation. I love this old-fashioned English. Is there a manner of reckoning whereby a monk who is a learner, so he says learner rather than a trainee, standing on the level of a learner can discern, I am a learner, and whereby a monk who is an adept, standing on the level of the adept can discern, I am an adept. And what is the manner of reckoning whereby a monk who is a learner standing on the level of a learner can discern, I am a learner? There's a case where a monk who is a learner discerns. So this is the wisdom here, this discerning aspect, as it actually is, that this is stress, this is dukkha. This is the origin of stress or dukkha. This is the cessation of stress. This is a path of practice leading to the cessation of stress. So this is the Four Noble Truths. This is the manner of reckoning whereby a monk who is a learner, standing on the level of a learner, can discern, I am a learner. So really looking at, do we really deeply understand the Four Noble Truths? We've gone beyond any doubt that this is the way to liberation, working with these Four Noble Truths, getting a really deep understanding of dukkha and its cause, and then being on the path, and then realizing cessation. Furthermore, a monk who is a learner reflects, is there outside of this doctrine and discipline any Brahmin or contemplative who teaches the true, genuine, accurate Dhamma like the Blessed One? I like this, the way this is.
That's phrased exactly like what I was meaning.
Yeah. So it's more about the teachings. I mean, the Buddha has a wonder, he's amazing that all that he did in order to come to this deep understanding and then sharing it with us. But what he's looking at here is is there any other teaching that's and as he discerns, no, there is no Brahmin or contemplative outside of this doctrine and discipline who teaches the true, genuine, and accurate Dhamma like the Blessed One. This too is a manner of reckoning whereby a monk who is a learner, standing on the level of a learner, can discern, I am a learner. So this is the unshakable faith based on working with the teachings, understanding the teachings. If the Buddha was here also examining their character, a person's character, the Buddha actually encouraged that you spend time with a teacher and then you really examine, can you see greed, hate, and delusion in this being, and not to follow someone who's advocating on the side of greed, hate, and delusion. So furthermore, the monk or anyone who is a learner discerns the five faculties, the faculty of conviction, persistence, mindfulness, concentration, discernment. He sees clear through with discernment their destiny, excellence, rewards, consummation, but he does not touch them with his body. This too is a manner of reckoning whereby a monk who is a learner standing on the level of a learner can discern that I am a learner. So I'm going to this wisdom publication that Bhante Bodhi, this is just amazing, and this is one volume of his work, and he meticulously spent probably late nights doing this these translations. And then he also refers to the commentaries. He did so much research putting these volumes together.
Can we run over a little bit on time so we can do this?
Oh, it's okay. So I'll read this. This is talking about touching with his body, and and Bhante Sujato said that there was the experience, the direct experience.
Mhm.
So there's a dwelling with personal experience is one way. It's one translator has it Woodward, but he puts it in the negation, and that's corrected. He says this rendering misses the essentials. His difference between the trainee and the arahant. The trainee sees nibbana, the final goal in which the five faculties culminate, but cannot enter upon the full experience of it. The arahant sees the goal and can experience it here and now. Okay, I don't have to get into the grammar, but the commentaries, this is Buddhaghosa, paraphrases, he does not dwell having contacted that, having obtained that with the name body. This is what he says, Namakaya, the corpus of mental factors. He understands by reviewing wisdom. Beyond, there is a faculty, the fruit of arahantship. On the plane of an arahant, he dwells, having obtained this, and he understands by reviewing wisdom. There is a faculty, the fruit of arahantship. So this is a difference between direct experience of nibbana and knowing. They said, there was a simile I read too, I think it's in the commentaries, or it might be, it may be in the Vimuttimagga,
Mhm.
where somebody's traveling and there's a deep well, and they look down into the well and they know there's water in the well, but they aren't able to get to it yet. No, if you saw that, you would be trying, I'm going to get a rope and I'm going to get a bucket and I'm going to do what I can to get at that water, right? So the stream enterer has seen nibbana, but they haven't, it's like, they know it's there, that's beyond a doubt. And so that is the difference. So, but this is, I brought this sutta out because it is working, showing how the five spiritual faculties, well, the Noble Eightfold Path, but the fivefold spiritual faculties actually are more kind of a focused, maybe a way that they work together. Like there's a description of the faculties being like a chariot. There's got four horses and then the charioteer. So mindfulness would be the charioteer, and the first pair would be the sada and the panya, and the second pair would be the virya and the samadhi. So they all work together like a team to take us to nibbana.
Sadhu.
So I just wanted to offer this for your reflection. And I will stop the screen share. And we can close with the Arahant. And if anyone would like to stay on a little bit longer for further questions, you're welcome to stay. And we'll then take the off YouTube so people can share.
Yeah, we'll have the
Share more freely if they necessarily want to have on
Have the
record.
world on record, on record for the world.
Okay, so we'll turn towards the altar. If you have your own home altar, you're welcome to bow there, or you can bow with us towards this image here. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Thank you for joining us. And we're going off.